So welcome Forza members. This is the third in a series of webinars based on surveys conducted by Core Market about, I suppose, what you're thinking about during COVID or post-COVID, about areas of concern or areas of worry. I know in my own life the importance of, I suppose, healthy living or healthy gut and healthy mind. So I'm delighted this week to welcome Emma Murphy, psychotherapist like myself, but more significantly for today, emotional eating specialist. I suppose emotional eating, what is it, Emma?
On a very basic level, Brent, it is a biological thing, okay? So when our stress level, our cortisol hormone is high, we're going to look for a dopamine hit or that feel-good factor to help bring down that cortisol and help us bring us back into balance. So what we're looking for when we're reaching for the sugar, fat and salt is to reduce our stress or anxiety. So it is comfort eating, emotional eating, comfort eating, same thing.
I suppose it's saying that it's a part sort of nature nurture. It's a part learned self-coping, and it's also part of our body craving for the kind of the sugars or whatever that the sort of fast food will give us for a period of time.
Well, I mean, the same centre of our brain is triggered by love. You know, there's a little bit of oxytocin there. There's a little bit of, you know, dopamine. There's, you know, they're all kind of very closely related, those areas of the brain. So, and also food culturally is very much attached to emotions. So like we celebrate with food, we commiserate with food. And here in Ireland, we're amazing at that. You know, we have massive funerals and we have massive weddings and we have massive parties and it's all about food and drink. And, you know, back in the day, and this isn't that long ago, I mean, I grew up, I was born in the 60s, I grew up in the 70s and the 80s. There wasn't a lot of money around. There was a big recession, similar to what we're going through maybe at the moment. And in the absence of a lot of money, if your mum was able to bake or produce something nice, or they got the children's allowance, you know, once a month, and that was maybe the day that she went out and she did the shopping and she got the treats in, or, you know, that kind of thing. So there's a huge connection between love and food. And that's really where we kind of get confused about it.
What were your treats when you were growing up, by the way?
My treats when I was growing up, actually, my mother used to make a fruit cake. That was a big one. But the big one was she would go out and do the big shop and she would buy either Kimberley biscuits or Mikado biscuits. And they were the height of luxury in Newbridge in about 1973 when I was growing up.
Did they still have Kimberley biscuits?
They do, yeah.
Oh, they do.
I just don't eat them anymore.
So then, okay, moving on another step. Then what is the difference then between emotional eating and binge eating? Okay,
so it's on a spectrum. Do you know, that's really as much as it is. We all emotionally eat. As I say, everybody will, you know, say...
Just at different levels.
Yeah, exactly. Where binge eating is actually... binge eating disorder is an actual eating disorder. It's defined in, you know, the diagnostic manuals for psychotherapists. And it's eating an unusually large amount of food in an unusually short period of time, usually when you're not physically hungry. And afterwards, whoever is engaging in the binge eating will feel, obviously, feelings of shame, disgust, anger, remorse, you know. So it's not the same as, I shouldn't have had a takeaway 2 nights in a row. It's more like, I shouldn't have ordered 3 takeaways and eaten them all on my own in secret, while everybody else was out and hidden all the evidence and then felt crap about myself.
So that becomes more a psychological
It is a psychological. It's not about the food, it's about the feelings. Yeah.
So when people, I think some people get the wrong idea about sort of binge eating, you know, they'll say, oh, I had a couple of burgers too much, but it's more about a necessity to kind of eat large amounts.
Yeah, when you're binging, I mean, and I always describe it as, again, we're talking about, there's very much a mind-body connection on every level of this particular area of psychology. So obviously you've got your gut and your brain, so that there's a connection between the gut and the brain, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that. But you have to remember, where do you feel your feelings? Where do you get the first indication that you're going to have a feeling or an emotion? It's in your body. So if you're feeling all warm and fuzzy and lovey, you know, your heart feels warm and, you know, you kind of have a flush in your face and, you know, that kind of thing. When you're feeling anxious or irritated or angry, you'll feel it in your gut. It might feel cold. You get the, you know yourself, all the different symptoms. So clients who find it very difficult to process emotions, when they get that feeling in their body, that's the first indication, oh, okay, there's a feeling coming along that I don't want to deal with, or there's a feeling coming along that's going to maybe cause me to look at something in my life that I don't want to look at. So, and I'll talk about that in a second, but the first thing is, if I eat the food, I can shove that back down again. So literally there's almost that idea of, I'm just going to bury that physiological feeling under the food. And I'm going to replace the cortisol with the dopamine.